Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Dairy Magazine, reporting to you here today with Paul Sousa from Western United Dairies. Always good to be here with you. Wanted to talk about some upcoming water quality regulations as it pertains to dairies that are going to be impacting dairy producers in the Central Valley. And love that you're always on top of these things. A lot of issues to deal with in the industry, but what can you tell us about this?
Yeah, always a pleasure to talk to you. And it's great to get this opportunity to update dairy producers and let them know what's going on as these things are coming down the road. So when the dairy water quality regulations were adopted in the Central Valley in 2013, environmental groups petitioned those to the State Water Resources Control Board. Well, late last year, the State Water Resources Control Board picked up that petition and is now reviewing the dairy permit and is going to issue a remand order to the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board telling them changes that they have to make. And it's important that dairy producers be aware of this. Water quality regulations now on dairies are 15 years or so. Dairies have gotten used to those. They've kind of become routine, but there's going to be some big changes and dairies need to be prepared for that. The state board did hold some meetings as part of that, kind of giving people the thoughts of what they had on the dairy permit and what changes they might be coming forth with, but nothing is in writing yet. These are just kind of ideas. The State Water Board is now writing those, and at some point this coming winter, they're supposed to release those. And so we have some general ideas about what were discussed at the meetings, and maybe dairies in some of those areas can start getting prepared, and other ones it's just being aware that it's coming. So the two main areas of conversation were around lagoons. Lagoons always get a lot of attention, and I understand it. You look at them, they are what they are. But in reality, we've done a lot of research on dairies, and they are a small percentage of the total impact. Even though the appearance they have, it's a relatively small footprint. Manure does seal those, and so those are, fairly well controlled. The biggest issue actually is cropland. Like 92% of the nitrogen moving from a dairy into groundwater is coming from the cropland. And again, it doesn't get the attention because it's a beautiful green cornfield. What could possibly be wrong here? But that is the issue. You can't just judge a book by its cover. You really have to get into it, and we've done that research, and we know where the issues are. And so on lagoons, it looks like the State Water Board is going to be requiring some testing. If you pass the test, and we've done some of those tests in the past, and most dairies do meet the standard and they're fine. The biggest issue is that you can't run the test on most dairies. You have to be able to cut off all flows of water in and out of the lagoon over a couple of day period, and we actually have very sensitive instrumentation that tells whether the lagoon is seeping, but you have to absolutely cut off every drop of water going in and out, and most dairies can't do that. We found some dairies where that can be done, and most of the dairies do meet the standard. And so, that's one thing that potentially is going to happen. We do need to find a testing methodology for dairies that can't shut off all inflows and outflows. And so there may be an alternative testing methodology. On cropland, the biggest issue, the one that we really need to focus on the most, the one that is going to lead to the most improvements. And the big picture there is we're looking at a whole farm balance. So the amount of nitrogen produced in the manure from your cows, how much of that can you agronomically use on your crops, on your dairy, and how much of that do you need to export? And then exporting that right amount to having that balance correct. That is something I would say that dairies can start working on today. I don't know how it's going to be written in the regulations. I can't tell you specifically, but generally getting to this, I can use half of my manure, so I should be exporting the other half. I would say a dairy working towards that would be a good investment, even though we don't know what the regulations are, written on in paper yet. So those are the things I really want our dairy producers to know. This is happening. At some point here in the next few months, we're going to see a draft of something that tells the regional board this is what you have to do. And dairy producers, it's important that they not get caught off guard and that they be prepared. Know this is coming, and if there's something that they can do on their facilities as they're making investments, as they're making changes, to do that with these things in mind.
Great. Well, thank you for the update, and read more about these things in California Dairy Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.